200,000 years ago, somewhere on the African savanna, a group of humans made a mistake. They let the fire go out. We don't know their names. We don't know how many of them there were. We only know what the archaeological record tells us, that in the darkness that followed, something came in. And we know it because of the bones it left behind. The question isn't why predators hunted us. We were slow, nearly blind in the dark, and completely defenseless alone. The question is how any of us survived at all. Because by every physical measure, we should not be here. A leopard can see 7 times better than you in the dark. A spotted hyena can run at 40 miles per hour for miles without stopping. A cave lion, which is not an animal most people have heard of, was a third larger than the biggest lion alive today. It went extinct only 13,000 years ago. For almost the entire history of our species, it was out there. And those are just the ones we know about. The predators that shaped us didn't leave fossils as often as we'd like, but they left evidence in a different place. They left it in us. Your fear of the dark, your instinct to move in groups, your inability to sleep deeply in an unfamiliar place, your body's tendency to jolt awake at a sound in the night, none of that is irrational. All of it is a survival system, assembled over hundreds of thousands of years of being hunted. The question is, what else your ancestors figured out? Because something worked, let's start with the problem as it actually was. Modern humans look at a lion and see something dangerous. Your ancestors looked at a lion and saw something that had already spotted them. The predators that hunted early humans were not random threats. They were specialists. Ambush hunters with night vision, explosive speed, and tens of thousands of years of evolutionary experience, targeting exactly the size and behavior pattern of a human being. We had none of those advantages. Our eyesight in darkness is among the worst of any large mammal. Our sense of smell is almost useless compared to every major predator we shared the savanna with. We can't climb fast enough to escape a leopard. We can't outrun a hyena. We don't have claws or armored skin or venom or any of the biological tools that other prey animals use to survive. What we had instead was stranger, and it took us a very long time to figure out how to use it. The oldest and most important survival technology your ancestors ever developed was not a weapon. It was fire. We've covered fire before in the context of cooking and night. But in the context of predators, fire does something specific. A fire creates a perimeter. The light reaches roughly 30 feet in every direction, and within that perimeter, almost nothing will approach. Not because predators are afraid of fire in an abstract sense, because fire in nature means one thing: something is already burning. Every instinct an ambush predator has evolved around the element of surprise. Fire removes surprise completely. The predator becomes visible before it can strike, so it goes somewhere else. This is not a theory. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups in Africa today have documented the same pattern consistently. Camps without fire at night lose people. Camps with fire maintained through the night do not. The data is striking enough that researchers have described the ancient campfire as the single most important survival tool in human evolutionary history. Not a spear, not a knife, a fire. But fire alone wasn't enough. Because fire goes out. This is where your ancestors developed something even more sophisticated, something that required a level of social coordination no other animal has ever matched. They took turns. In every surviving hunter-gatherer group studied in the modern era, sleep is not what most people imagine it to be. It is not a camp of people all unconscious simultaneously. At any given point through the night, some people are awake, watching the fire, watching the darkness, listening. The Hadza, the San Bushmen, the Ache of Paraguay, all of them show the same pattern: staggered sleep, distributed vigilance, at least one person usually more alert at any given hour. Researchers who have studied this call it sentinel behavior. And when they modeled it mathematically, the results were stark. A group of 25 people sleeping in staggered shifts, even with no other defenses, is almost impossible to successfully ambush. There's almost no window in which every person is deeply asleep simultaneously. The math alone explains a significant portion of why we survived. The group was the weapon. But the group also had to be somewhere, and where your ancestors chose to sleep was the third piece of the survival puzzle, and arguably the most underappreciated. Early human sleeping sites were not chosen for comfort, they were chosen for geometry. Caves positioned high above valley floors, accessible only by a single narrow approach. Rock overhangs with unobstructed sight lines in every horizontal direction. Cliffs above water, like Pinnacle Point in South Africa, where humans lived for 160,000 years on a ledge accessible only at low tide. These were not convenient places to live, they were defensible ones. Inside a cave with one entrance, a single person awake can monitor everything. A cliff above water eliminates attack from three sides completely. A rocky outcrop at height transforms the ambush hunter's greatest advantage, surprise, into an impossibility. They cannot approach without being seen, and they cannot reach you before you can respond. Your ancestors were not stronger than the predators that hunted them. They were better at choosing the ground. But here's what the fossil record makes clear. Sometimes none of it was enough. At a site in Kenya called Olorge Saili, archaeologists found something that has never been fully explained. Human bones, not butchered by other humans, not arranged in any ritual pattern, scattered, gnawed, left where they fell. The predator, whatever it was, came in fast and left the same way. This was not a rare event. Across dozens of early human sites in Africa and Europe, the same evidence appears. Tooth marks on human bones consistent with large cats. Talon marks on skulls consistent with large birds of prey. The Haast's eagle of New Zealand, now extinct, had a wingspan of 10 feet and preyed on animals far larger than a human. In the Sterkfontein cave system in South Africa, a nearly complete skull of an early human ancestor was found wedged in a crack in the rock. The puncture marks in the skull matched the canines of a leopard exactly. Someone's last moments were spent in the grip of something that dragged them into the dark. We carry that history too. It's there in the way your heartbeat changes when a large animal moves unexpectedly near you. It's there in the specific fear children develop of things with eyes in the dark, a fear that appears cross-culturally in every population ever studied without being taught. It's there in the 3 a.m. awakening that feels like danger even when there is none. Your nervous system never got the message that the predators are gone, because for 299,000 of the last 300,000 years, they weren't. What this means is something worth sitting with. Every human being alive today descends from an unbroken chain of ancestors who survived. Every single one. Not ancestors who were the biggest or the fastest or the strongest. Ancestors who were awake when they needed to be, who kept the fire alive, who chose the right cliff, the right cave, the right hill above the wrong valley, who had, at the critical moment, at least one other person watching the dark with them. You are not the descendant of the most powerful humans who ever lived. You are the descendant of the most careful ones. And somewhere inside your nervous system, in the jolt that wakes you at a sound, in the comfort you feel when a fire is burning, in the specific ease that settles over you when you fall asleep surrounded by people you trust, their caution is still running. It never stopped. It was just waiting for you to notice it. Next time, I want to look at what happened when ancient humans stopped running from predators and started hunting.